Consider two vectors, vector A and vector B. Okay. Now, see, we have two ways of doing product for the vectors, which I think you guys already remember. Now, here we are concentrating more on the cross product or vector product. So, I'll repeat the same thing again. What we have is the vector product of two vectors is a vector quantity whose magnitude is equal to the product of magnitudes of the two given vectors and sine of the angle between their directions, and whose direction is perpendicular to the plane of both vectors. Okay, so I'll repeat this again, what it means, then I'll explain it. So here the vector product of two vectors is a vector quantity whose magnitude is equal to the product of magnitudes of the two given vectors and sine of the angle between their directions, whose direction is perpendicular to the plane of both vectors. Okay, now what it means is we have two vectors, vector A and vector B. Okay, now both the vectors are in the same plane. Okay, so same plane. Consider it to be in the x-axis, y-axis plane, xy plane. Okay, now the cross product or vector product of these two is given by the magnitude of that is equal to the product of the magnitudes of the two given vectors. So if you have vector A and vector B as two vectors, then A and B will be the magnitude. Okay, so product of the magnitudes and sine of the angle between their directions. So if theta is the angle between the two vectors, then sine of the angle, so we get sine theta, right? So we have A cross B is equal to AB sine theta into n cap. Now that n cap is nothing but the direction perpendicular to the plane of both vectors. Okay, so perpendicular to plane of both vectors. See, as you can see here, this is, if this is vector A and vector B, then this will be A cross B. A cross B is perpendicular to the plane. Okay, alright, see, now this is basically the cross product. Okay, now when we talk about cross product, lots of examples we can give, like day-to-day examples. See, one simple example, what we can do is, all of you have opened the lid of a jar, correct? See, when you're opening a lid of the jar, what do? You move your hand, right? See, you're moving your hand in one direction, but the lid opens or closes. That is basically perpendicular to the motion of the hand, correct? Right? Or you can say a screw. So when you're moving a screw, basically you rotate the screwdriver. Rotation is happening in one plane, but the screw is moving in a plane perpendicular to it, correct? See, these are examples of what we call as torque. Okay, so torque is an example for vector product. Alright, another example is magnetic field. Magnetic field, you guys have at least heard about this last year, right? So lots of examples we can give, like torque is one, magnetic field is one. So, and one more thing is angular momentum. Okay, those things you guys will learn this year. So basically lots of examples, that is day-to-day examples we can see, which is vector product. Okay, now we learned that vector product A cross B is equal to AB sine theta into n cap. A cross B is always in a plane perpendicular to both the vectors, right? Now there are certain rules, or you can say properties of cross product. Okay, so one property is A cross B is not equal to B cross A. Okay, why? Because see, A cross B, how do we figure out the direction? This is very important. Now whenever we say A cross B, what we do is we take the right hand. Okay, so if this is vector A and let's say this is vector B, so what we do is, so from vector A we are moving on to vector B. Okay, so from A we are moving on to B. The thumb represents the direction of the cross product. Okay, so this is what we call as right hand screw rule. Alright, so vector A to vector B. So we are moving like this. This is the direction of the A cross B or the vector product. So if you're doing B cross A, then it will be the opposite direction. So it will be B cross A. It's in the opposite direction, correct? This is the reason A cross B is not equal to B cross A. Okay, this is one rule. The second property is if we are doing A cross A, or if it is the same equal vector, then the cross product is 0. Why? Because what is the angle between vector A and vector A? Meaning the same angle, the same vector. Then theta is 0, correct? We have sine 0 to be 0. This is the reason A cross A is 0. Okay. Next is, if let's say vector A and vector B are perpendicular to each other. Okay. Then here theta is 90 and sine 90 is maximum, which is 1. So A cross B will be just AB into n cap. Okay. The maximum value is at 90 degree and minimum value is at 0. Alright. One more thing. See, we have something known as I cap, j cap and k cap. Okay. So I, j, k is what? The unit vectors, correct? So if we have, let's say, I cross I or j cross j or k cross k, this will be 0, correct? Just like A cross A is 0, similarly. But if we have I cross j, we get k. And if we have j cross k, we get I. And if we have k cross I, we get j. Now, very easy way to remember is by this. See, look at this. We have I cross j is equal to k. And then j cross k is equal to I. And k cross I is equal to j. Okay. This is the easiest way to remember what resultant will get when two vectors gets multiplied. Okay. So, this is vector product of two vectors. And this plays a very important part in the given lesson. Okay, you will see lot of examples. Like I told, angular momentum is one such example. So in the next video, you will see different types of applications of this vector product.